What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards Football Sports Talk Radio. I am your host and producer, Logan Landers. Joining me here today to talk about the New York Jets 2024 team preview, my guy, Mr. William Yanish III. How you doing this afternoon, man?
I'm doing great, Logan. How about yourself, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Excited to talk about these Jets. I know a lot of fans are excited to talk about them and see how we think they're going to do this upcoming season because last year was kind of a wash, and we'll get into more of that in just a second. But be sure if you enjoy this video, guys, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Facebook, YouTube. Also, go download our podcast every single week. All right, William, I'll go ahead and hand you the rock, my friend. What do you want to talk about these Jets? Which side of the ball you want to talk about first?
Well, I guess we can go with the offense, considering everything that happened last year.
Let's do it. Go ahead. Let's start off with this offense, and I'm sure you've got a lot to say about the guy who's under center. Hopefully, for more than just a couple of snaps this year.
Yeah, a couple snaps, and they literally had 64 sacks last year, including the one that took Aaron Rodgers out.
Mm-hmm.
We were just talking about 65 and Sam Howell.
Yeah, with Washington, yeah.
They, didn't pick an offensive lineman until the fourth round last year or something. And it was obvious, they had like 5 or 6 under contract for a year. And just what it was, they put all these pieces around him. They got Breece Hall, they got Braylon Allen, Garrett Wilson, Malachi Corley, Mike Williams comes in from the Chargers. And they put all the skill positions up there. But the one thing that Joe Douglas, forgot was the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they brought in Tyrone Smith, but he is 33 in a 1-year contract. Again, I don't believe the Cowboys would have let go of him if they thought he was going to last much longer. But the rest of their offensive line, they have a couple coming off injuries. Vera Tucker and Morgan Moses. Moses is, way old. This whole team is kind of salt and peppered on experience and rookies, which,
yeah.
It can definitely be a good thing, especially on the line, when they're trying, to get everything down so that line can gel and, they can keep their quarterback from getting killed. Because, Breece Hall is an excellent running back. I mean, and they have a rotation in there too. They've got Braylon Allen now out of Wisconsin, and they already had the other one, Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
So great running backs. The receiver core is the same. Wilson, Malachi Corley. That's the New York Jets version of Deebo Samuel. He does all the same things, can line up anywhere, and known as a yak king,
No doubt,
he
man.
got it.
Yeah, he was super impressive, I thought. And obviously, when you look at this team, it's going to be based around Aaron Rodgers. That's how this whole offense is based off of. You mentioned that in the year prior that they did not draft an O-lineman until a couple of rounds into the draft. This year, they resolved that by picking up Fashanu in their first round. We'll see how he does and how he can fare his first season. They've got him listed as a left tackle behind Tyrone Smith, as you just mentioned, who they brought over. So he might not see every single snap coming in, but we'll see how he does and if he can maybe play another position on the O-line. Remains to be seen, but that's their big thing, man. If their O-line isn't healthy or if their O-line isn't playing full strength or isn't living up to their potential, it's hard for this team to get going. Because you mentioned Aaron Rodgers, we know future Hall of Famer, that's no question about that. But the guy is he's 40 now. He's 40 years old, only played in one game last season, and we know didn't even get through the first game. So you keep him healthy first and foremost. I think that with this team, they should rely a little bit more on that running back room that you were just mentioning of Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, and let's also not forget Isaiah Davis, who was an absolute stud at South Dakota State, who was putting up records after records out there. Could be a guy who they could throw into some packages and who could really have a potential breakout year. But obviously, the receiving core of Garrett Wilson's going to be your top guy, no question about that. Malachi Corley's got some hype around him. And then you've got some veterans, some guys who've been around the league for a couple of years, like Mike Williams, Alan Lazard. But I don't. It's tough, man. It's tough for this team for offense. I'm not in love with it. I think it's good. I think it's got some good pieces, but I'm not necessarily saying this is going to be a top offense in the league.
Yeah, that's is one thing about New York is it's such a huge fan base. There's so much pressure there. That's part of the reason why Zach Wilson had problems and being drafted number two. That had a big effect on him. If he'd have been drafted later, second, third round, he might have had a chance. But also, like I said, it's the Jets, but now Aaron Rodgers, he's obviously been established in this league, everything else, but
Mm-hmm.
he didn't even show up at a mini camp, after missing the entire season,
No,
last
yeah,
year.
that's good. That's a good point. That's a good point.
I feel that they've got an excellent backup. If Aaron Rodgers is actually gonna mentor him or not, is a Florida State quarterback, Jordan Travis.
Yep.
He's coming off a gruesome leg injury, but I had a pretty high grade on him, and he's an excellent player, excellent all around, mobile. I feel that when Rodgers is done, that this can definitely be the guy.
It could very
Um,
well could be.
they have a couple of good tight ends, for safety valves with Tyler Conklin and Jeremy Ruckett. Also for double tight end sets, you got to run it, things like that. But this offense, there's going to be a lot, of pressure on them because they've never really had a quarterback or haven't had one
Not
for
not
a
not
minute.
really one that you could say, all right, this is my guy. Since I mean, could you say I guess Mark Sanchez in recent memory in a sense? I mean, it wasn't like he was lighting the world on fire, but at least he was there for a handful of years. Uh, and he got him some pretty good success with the team as a whole. But since then, I mean, it's just been a revolving door of Sam Darnold's and Zach Wilson's and so on and so on. But yeah, I mean, like we're seeing here from Mr. Turner, Brees Hall's special. Garrett Wilson's also. We know how good he is. But I want to let's turn our attention now to the Jets. I mentioned I don't think the offense is going to be top of the line. Now the defense, William, that's a different question. That's a
Uh,
different. I think that might be a little different. What you like about this team on defense?
Man, this defense, they definitely starting at the defense at the line. They've got Jermaine Johnson. He was out of Florida State. Might have been a little bit of a reach in the first round, but not a big deal. Um, they just signed Javon Kinlaw. After he left the Niners. Uh, they've got Quentin Williams, and then signing Hassan Reddick as well. In this 4-3 defense, the line is the most important thing, and it's the type of defense that I would run. I would tweak it quite a bit, but other than that, they have the one that I really like. Moving on back to the linebackers, came out a few years ago. Chaz Surratt,
Mm-hmm.
he was out of UNC, I believe, and as a middle linebacker, or I mean, this kid can cover. I had him even above JOK that went to Cleveland, that year.
Yeah.
Um, and I really, like I said, like him, but he's, they have him listed as a middle linebacker. I feel that he could easily take over. What is that, Jamie Sherwood? At weak side, they've got Quincy Williams at strong side. Like I said, CJ Mosley, but he's getting old in the middle.
Right.
Oh, I forgot about the backup, another pass rusher. You can never have too many of them. Is Will McDonald, the fourth? It's definitely. I feel that he might have been a little bit of a reach, but he is definitely capable. I mean, he has the skills and everything else, so he will be a starter. At some point, but they ended up with Reddick coming in after
Mm-hmm.
he left. Um, Back to the secondary, they've got Sauce Gardner, and people are already crowning him, as one of the best in the league. Some people already have that.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
with as good as he's looked already at such a young age.
they've got DJ Reed, Isaiah Oliver. The safeties, they got Chuck Clark and Tony Adams. I really don't know who Tony Adams is, and that's one of those things. they have Isaiah Oliver listed as his backup. I feel that Oliver can easily overtake him since he has more of that dynamic feel to him as a cornerback. He's fast, he can cover, and I believe he would be an excellent free safety. Besides that, like I said, this defense can definitely hang. They have some good pieces, man.
Yeah, they do. I think their defense is going to look strong this year. That is going to be what can get them to a certain amount of wins, what can get them to certain positions in the standings. And let's go ahead and talk about the standings since this is a team preview. Looking at this, who they're facing this year, coming out the gates hot with San Fran. Some of the other notable teams I'm seeing here, their schedule, obviously you've got Buffalo and whatnot. They're taking on the Texans on Halloween. That's going to be a good game there. The Colts, could be a team on the rise, perhaps. You got the Rams, Dolphins, obviously. Seahawks, who were always a surprise. So how do you think this team's going to finish? What do you think they're going to win out there in the AFC East? Do you think they're going to get a playoff or a wild card berth, or do you think they're going to miss it still? What do you think how this team's going to do in 2024?
Well, I don't even know. I was going to say, if everyone stays healthy, but, even if Rodgers goes down again or something like that, I feel that Travis can definitely, lead them. They've got the pieces. They've got everything. If that schedule that you were just reading sounded pretty rough, but
yeah, and like I said, those are some of the games I picked out. That obviously that's not everything, but those are some of the notable games I saw taking a glance at it.
Yeah, and they're obviously going to win a couple of those because they are that good, and they can definitely be a wild card team. Besides that, the Patriots, they're not doing so well in that division, but they have such a young team that they're on their way up, and the Jets have to match that. The Jets team isn't as young, but they still have those young pieces and the dynamic pieces to come out, and I feel that it can be a good team. They're going to sneak up on a few of these, Buffalo, stuff like that. They always have a couple of really dumb losses for whatever reason.
It's just you got to throw a few of them in there.
Yeah.
But no, I think for the Jets, I think this is a team definitely capable of getting a wild card spot, no problem. I would say mildly surprised if they win the AFC East. And I say that only because, like you said, the Patriots still aren't there yet. We'll talk about them in an episode coming up in the near future. I think the Bills have taken a step back with all the money they've had to shed, all the players they had to get rid of. I think they're taking a slight step back this year. And I think that Miami, obviously, if it wasn't for them playing in cold weather last year, I think things could have went a little bit better for them come playoff time. So I think that when I look at this division, I think probably the Jets might slide in there at that number 2 or 3 hole. I think they would be competing with Buffalo in that sense. But like I said, I think this is a team definitely capable of getting a wild card, no issues without that. But I don't know if I could crown them as the champs out there in the East with how good Miami has looked in really since Mike McDaniel's taken over and really kind of rejuvenated that team.
Yeah, I had Miami and the Niners in the Super Bowl last year. They're always competitive, and that's another one keeping healthy. They almost killed to it, literally.
No, literally, honestly. But it's gonna be. I think this Jets team is gonna be fun to watch. Obviously, we were hoping for it last year with Rodgers. Didn't get a chance, unfortunately. Hopefully, he's coming back in good shape, 100% or as much as he can be. Maybe those wilderness retreats are helping them out even more. But I think that overall the Jets are going to have a good season, obviously a winning season, a team who I think and who William thinks also could be in that wild card berth at the end of the year. Don't think they're quite there yet. I still think they need some more pieces. I still need to see that O-line do some better work. I still need to see maybe a couple more additions to that wide receiving core in addition to Garrett Wilson. But I think this is a solid team nonetheless, but I want to hear what you have to say in the comments, though, on Facebook and YouTube. How will the Jets do this year? What position will they be at? Will they be first in the AFC East? Will they be a wild card team? Or will they not make the playoffs to even have that prediction for them? I want to hear it in our comments, once again, Facebook and YouTube, and also on our podcast every single week. Mr. William Yanish III. Appreciate you coming on the show, talking about these New York Jets. It's always a fun time. And until next time, everyone, we'll talk to you again on another live episode. See you later.